What's up, everybody? Today we are in...
Looking to replace your OEM diesel particulate filter or diesel oxidation catalyst? Look no further than DPF XFit, a complete line of aftermarket diesel particulate filters and diesel oxidation catalysts designed as an exact fit OEM replacement with all makes coverage for light, medium, and heavy-duty trucks. With thousands of units in stock, we ship the same or next day, and be sure to check out our comprehensive reverse OEM lookup tool. Always new, never remanufactured. For more information, be sure to visit dpfxfit.com. That's dpfxfit.com.
For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody. WFO Radio is back on the air. We're getting closer and closer to the start of the 2025 NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series season, the Pro Superstar Shootout in Bradenton, and all the big events that are happening in my home state, WFO's home state of Florida. You got the Drag Illustrated U.S. Street Car Race this weekend, Rolex 24 getting ready to get started. There's a lot going on. NHRA Divisional Racing, which is what I am getting ready for, inside of 30 days till Speed World Dragway, Orlando, Florida, the Lucas Oil Series Southeastern Division kickoff. They had their banquet this past Saturday night. And will Project Pontiac be ready? Will Project Pontiac make it to run Super Street out there in Orlando? Hopefully the Baby Gators the following week. We just don't know. We just don't know. It's a ton of work. It's going to be great. We're going to get into all of that. Palm Beach International Raceway is back on the market. Anybody got, a couple of $1 million to sit around? Let's pool our money. We'll take everything that you've got and everything that I've got, and we'll all put it in on the track. Let's do it. Got a lot to say about that. We've got a great guest today on the show, Ida Zetterstrom, JCM Racing. Ida going to be on the show, and we're going to speak with Ida about being part of, I don't know, is it the first Mission Foods Series all-female driver team with Alexis DeJoria? That's going to be very cool. Big announcement for Ida. We're going to talk about that. But we always start off with the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, who joins us now. We've got great sponsors. We're going to talk about them mid-show. But Alan Reinhart, tremendous storylines shaping up. I see Ida is down there already. And so, Ida, do you see me? She's waving. We're going to get to Ida momentarily. We got to share the show. Everybody's going to blow this thing up. Comment section is going crazy. How's Alan?
I'm all right. I'm pretty tired of you, though. I mean, I live in Florida. We're racing in Florida. We got all this racing in Florida. We got everything going on in Florida. The rest of the world is freezing and snowing. I mean, we were in Florida, and we're in Florida. Enough.
Sick week.
Enough.
We got sick week. I forgot to mention sick week is starting is also.
I got to tell you, from the credit where credit's due department, Wes Buck has really turned that Winter Pro Mod series into a big deal down there. Tip of the cap to him and the Drag Illustrated guys. But everything's cranking up. They always talk about the winter break, right? Nobody stops working. You just don't go to the racetrack, and it's getting to be close to time when everybody's going to be packing up and heading down there. Bradenton coming up soon for the shootout, and then off to Gainesville. Of course, we'll be at the division level a couple of places before that. So looking forward to it. I'm ready.
It's amazing. It's just a couple of things. I think the pandemic had something to do with it, where Florida remained open and it was kind of a place to go where you could, do what you needed to do. And that kind of got it on everybody's radar. We had the Pro Superstar Shootout. I'm so sorry. It was called the Pro Winter Warm-Up at Palm Beach International Raceway, a track that formerly Moroso Motorsports Park, the birth of big money bracket racing, the 5-day bracket race there, Dick Moroso's track, is now back on the market. We're going to talk about all of these things, but let's not make our guest wait any longer. Let us bring her on the show, driving for JCM Racing, the sensation from Top Fuel, Ida Zetterstrom. Ida, welcome to WFO Radio. How are you?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm good. All good over here. I'm back in the shop in Indy. It's a little cold, but I'm used to that, so shouldn't complain.
Alan's in Arizona. He's wearing a sweatshirt. He's got a hoodie on. I am in South Florida.
It's
What's the
chilly
number?
here. It's only going to be about 65 today, but we're supposed to be back in the 70s by the weekend. So I'm looking forward to doing a little
All
motorcycling
right.
this weekend.
Or 68, 70 here, 70 degrees maybe. You know, I did have to put on some long pants this morning to go to the bank. Ida, what's the number there in Indy?
Well, it was minus 18 Celsius yesterday. I haven't checked what it is now, but it's around 0 Fahrenheit, I would say.
Okay, that Celsius to Fahrenheit calculation is something we should all make. But compared to back home, is that colder? Is it the same? Is it warmer?
It depends. Right now, it's warmer back at home, actually, than it is over here. So that's a little strange, but it all depends from year to year. I mean, we have had years back at home when it's colder than this and for a longer period of time. But right now, I would say we're kind of at the same as it is over here. We just have more snow and more icy roads back at home than they have over here in Indy.
Yes, a little more fun is what you're saying. A little more fun. You can ski and do all kinds of fun stuff. All right,
yeah,
Ida,
I can ski, but other people can. So yeah,
right. This is big news for you, though. Like your dream continues. You came over, you made your debut in the countdown last year. You got your first big win out there in Brainerd, vaulted onto the scene, and now you'll be running with JCM. Alexis has the team car, all female drivers. That's kind of a cool vibe. Lay it out for us. What can we expect?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super happy to be continuing with JCM, obviously. I mean, all of last year were gaining momentum for this year. And obviously, our goal was to run a full season this year. And that is still our goal. But we are still chasing the funding to be able to do that. So right now, we announced a limited schedule. Right now, we're looking at a minimum of 10 events. And we will announce that 10 event schedule really soon. And then we're hoping we can make the 10 into as many as possible. But the goal is obviously 20, so we can be there in the championship hunt with all the full-time teams. So that is the long-time goal or long-term goal. Obviously, a new teammate with Alexis. I'm super excited. I've always liked Alexis, and I think having a funny car and a top fuel is something that I look forward to. I think it's going to be very cool. It's a lot of things are changing, new things, and obviously, I'm excited about Alexis coming on board. I think this is going to be cool. Being the first all-female Nitro team, it does have a good ring to it. I like it. I think it's a lot of girl power in the JCM team right now.
All right.
Ida, do you know Alexis well? I mean, I know you guys have met, but she's kind of like you. She's kind of an extreme, likes riding motorcycles, likes doing some extreme sports, that kind of thing. Do you know her well, or are you kind of getting to know her now?
I'm getting to know her. I know her a little bit. I've met her a few times, and obviously, with her also liking motorcycles, I think she was probably the first Nitro driver out here that I kind of, had some contact with, because she likes to bikes. I showed a lot of bike stuff. We kind of talked on Instagram a little bit. So when I came over here, I felt like we already knew each other in a way, but obviously looking forward to getting to know her deeper. I don't know her on that level yet. So I'm excited.
That is cool. Now, so someone on our Ignition show last night said, they wanted to be very technical about it. All female drivers. You still got men on the teams. Crew chiefs are dudes, right? But maybe that's something to aspire to. So Neff's going to be on Alexis's car. I would assume John Schaefer's still on your car. Talk a little bit about the tuning calls.
Yes, so I'm staying with the same. Obviously, me and John, we were building on basically building the whole team up last year. John did a fantastic job of getting all of that put together on a short time frame and being able to go out there and actually deliver and show that we are a team that can be out here and run with the big players. Obviously, there's still a lot of potential left in the car, and that is what we're trying to tap into right now. We ran our quickest and fastest ET during Pomona. So when we kind of got caught up on the settings that the car wanted and what we wanted it to do, the season was over. So I'm super excited on that. Obviously, over here, like you mentioned, Sippy, Mike Neff is doing the tuning for Alexis. And I'm not sure how much they worked together before, but I know they're both excited for that combo. So I think it's all exciting things coming out this year.
Excellent. Alan?
Ida, you mentioned that you're going to announce the schedule officially coming up in the near future. I was assuming when the announcement first came out that you had 10 races basically funded you, that you would start the season. Therefore, if the funding came along later, that you would be in a good position to go into the countdown run for the championship. Are you planning to start at Gainesville, or do we even know that yet?
I'm planning to start Gainesville, and we know the races right now. We we're looking at a 12 race schedule that we're trying to narrow down to 10 to have like the 10 that are set. Obviously, it would be the best to start by running 10 races and get the funding to continue to race. Right now, we're looking at doing quite a few of them in the beginning because we don't want to, see ourselves taken out of the championship competition that way. But we are looking at the schedule and where, like, for example, it's the best markets for our sponsors, where it makes more sense for us to be in that regard. And that's what we've taken a lot of into consideration when we're choosing this 10. So that's why it's not the first 10 and then no of them. Like, we're spreading them out more and being more strategic about that. Obviously, I want this to turn into a 20 race schedule, but if it don't and if we end up doing less events, we don't want to find ourselves in a situation where we sit out 8 or 10 events by the end of the year. We still want to have that momentum going into next year. I mean, we're thinking long term here, so that's why we don't want to use up all of those 10 right in the beginning, but we're still strategic about it where we don't miss the first couple of races. So
well, it's
gonna be interesting.
We're not there yet, too. I would imagine you guys are working the phones and crunching the numbers and sending out marketing decks and all of that.
Absolutely.
What can you share about that search in that I can tell you that the vibes out there in the world about drag racing have been apparently very positive and optimistic. The vibes about the American economy and the world economy, certainly very positive and optimistic. The data that I see reported on the news sites that are in charge of this kind of stuff, certainly trending upward in the right direction and good and getting better. So what can you say about your sponsorship search and what kind of irons that you have in the fire?
I do have a lot of irons in the fire, and just like
she froze.
I was wondering if it was me.
Yeah, it's you, Alan. You've done it again.
Usually it's me. It's me.
Yes, exactly. No, she's just frozen there. It's like, man, she's making the best point ever. Like, this is the best sponsorship talk that has ever happened. We got them all, man. We got, we list all the Fortune 500 companies. They're all there. Come on, Ida. Unfreeze.
I'm sure she'll be back in a second, Joe. But in the meantime, what would we need to buy West Palm? I mean, I got like $27.50, I think.
All right, so Ida's back. She's moving again. You
Okay.
froze.
I don't know what happened.
Irons in the fire. So when that happens and you freeze, can you hear us when we tell you, like, hey, you're frozen? That's got to be a very helpless feeling. Pick it up at irons in the fire, and then I'll answer your question, Alan. Go ahead, Ida.
Yeah, we do have a lot of irons in the fire, and just like you mentioned, I feel like everything is going upwards. Drag racing is doing really well. I mean, we are working really hard with our team, and I'm doing a lot on my marketing side and social media and like all of this. But drag racing in general has good statistics, and people are speaking really highly of getting into drag racing. So I'm hoping we can be able to find some new companies that might not be in drag racing yet, but want to get in there. And we have quite a few of those in the mix right now with the companies we are talking to. I also feel like people might have, it's been a little bit of a standstill. A lot of companies haven't been able to make their big moves yet. I feel like where they want to get in marketing wise, but I feel like all of that is kind of loosening up and getting better. So I'm really hopeful that we can make this season longer this year and that we can get more great partners on board. But obviously it all comes down to the return on investment for the sponsors and how you work with those partners. And that's where I feel like we have a lot to offer with what we're doing. And I am right now in discussion with a lot of companies that might be hitting, both the American and the European market. And that is some of the sponsors we've had in the past too. I mean, I work heavily with Dodge, for example, starting out Dodge Europe, and then over here it's part Dodge Europe and part Dodge, and same with Edelbrock. Edelbrock has a big presence in Europe, but also obviously over here in the US. So hopefully we can get some more of those in the mix and just come out there with a really strong team, strong partners, and be able to really show what we can do.
Alan?
Well, Joe wants to talk about all the business stuff. I want to talk about the personal stuff. You dreamed a long time about coming over here and being a part of the NHRA circuit. You got a taste of it last year. You were around for most of the races. But how much are you looking forward to your first run at Gainesville? Your first four wide, your first, there are still a number of things that you haven't done yet. And, Yeah, I got to tell you, I was having a conversation with a guy the other day, and he said, asked me about some of my memories, and I said, well, I like new adventures. So, the first time I went to Gainesville was really something. The first time I went to Indy, the first time I went to Pomona, but you've still got a lot of firsts on your list. Is there anything that higher, lower? What are you really looking forward to experiencing now for the first time?
I mean, I had so many firsts on my list last year. Even when I wasn't racing, I was at every event with the team. So I got to experience so many racetracks for the first time, not in the race seat all the time, but at least being at the track. So every weekend for me was something new. And when I started racing, there was a lot of new tracks, obviously, and not a lot of new competitors, a lot to take in from all different directions. So as much as I love all of that, and there's still going to be a lot of new stuff coming in this year, I kind of like the fact that I've actually been at every track that I'm going to show up to now. I know a little bit about where everything is at, where things are located, which way are you turning off the track, what are you doing, all of those kind of things that I somewhat have more knowledge about this year than going into it last year. I mean, last year, even though I've raced dragsters and drag racing forever, I felt like a rookie in so many ways because everything was new. I mean, everything from the people you work with and, the person that meets you at the top end that you've never seen before. Now, all of a sudden, I have seen those people. I have seen these places. There's still going to be new races for me, still going to be a lot of new experiences, but everything doesn't have to be a first, if you know what I'm saying. And I'm kind of looking forward to that, to having kind of a little more experience in that regard and focusing a little more on the driving and like all that than just taking in everything around.
Excellent.
How about the first time you're going to be in lane 3 because you've never done that before?
Yeah, that's going to be a strange one. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm terrified or excited. We'll see.
Well, which is it? Like you've seen it. It's got to be pretty exciting. It's going to be happening pretty close to the start of the season.
I mean, it's cool with something that's different. So obviously I want to try it. It's something different. But just, standing behind the car when you're there with the team and looking up and trying to figure out which scoreboard is what and who's doing what and who actually won, like it's a lot. So let's see if it feels like it's more or less when you're in the car. It might actually be a better experience in the car than when you're standing behind it trying to figure out what's going on. We'll see.
So let's keep it on that. In that, all right. So you had these, big dreams, and you accomplished a huge part. You came to the United States. You're competing in NHRA Mission Foods Top Fuel, but it's not just about finding the sponsorship and getting in the car and getting to the track. Like there's a competitor in there, right? A competitor that wants to win. And you were able to score around 1 win in your first ever race. You went to the semis. You had some really good success. All those things we just spoke about, like shaking off the how do I get to the track to comfort to compete. Let's talk to the competitor. And what do you think is possible? I think your results last year showed everybody that you're in contention to win races.
Yeah, and I mean that's what we want. That's what it's all about. Obviously, coming out here, there's so much around it, but winning races and competing for a championship, that's what it's ultimately about. And I am one of the biggest competitors, and I know the people around me feel the same way, and we want this really badly. I know the potential we have as a team and the potential we have in the car that we haven't tapped into yet. So I think that excites me the most. This year we're making some changes to obviously the car, and like everybody normally does to a year, but we are also making some changes to how I am placed in the car, or how I sit in the car, how certain things feel. Last year, we fitted me in the car in a very safe way and a good way for me to race, but it might not have been the optimal way to how I wanted it to feel, because for the majority of the season, my car was also Tony's spare car. So we wanted it to be an easy switch in case Tony were to ever need it during that time, he could fit right into it too. So we kind of made a compromise where I sat in a really safe way in the car and a way where I could operate the car, but it might not have been optimal to how I wanted it to feel, because we also wanted it to be able to fit Tony in case of need. But this year we can also work on exactly how I want things to feel and, feel the most comfortable in the car. And I know how much that plays into how you actually drive and you're feeling in the car. I know last year I had done testing in the car, both in mine and in Tony's, and then raced Brainerd and went straight over to Europe to run the car that I won the championship with in 2023 for just one event when we were there with Dodge and KW, and it was together with my old team. I hadn't sat in that car in like a year. Jumped into it, and you're not second guessing anything. Everything just feels comfortable and right and so damn easy, and you just go down track, you do your thing, and it's just everything just felt like second nature. And I feel good in this car, I do, but it doesn't feel like second nature yet. It doesn't feel the way that it did in that car that I was so used to driving, and that was set up in a way where I just felt so comfortable doing everything. So that's what we're chasing. Like, obviously we're chasing a little more of that performance, we're chasing a little more of the stability, like all that, but a lot also with how I feel in the car, because I know that I could do better as a driver, be quicker in certain reactions, be quicker at the tree, like all that. And that plays into being so comfortable in the car. I mean, you want to feel like you sit there and you don't think about what you're doing. You just do it because it's second nature. So for me, that is my biggest goal, to kind of find that, because I know that there's untapped potential there too for me, not just, the potential of what the car can do performance wise, but I know how good I was when I felt like that. And I know I can do decent when I feel okay in the car, but I know I can do really great when I feel great. So that's what we're trying to find.
Alan?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I know a lot of casual fans think, well, you're only in the car for 4 seconds. I mean, really, who cares? What difference does it make? But we've seen a lot over the years, especially where somebody buys a car from somebody else, or somebody gets in to drive somebody else's car, and just moving the steering wheel or moving the pedals or makes a big difference when you've got to be in there and you're trying to concentrate, and you don't want to have to be thinking about, okay, this car does this or that car does this. So I think that the way you explained it was wonderful. How much European racing are you planning to do this year? Do you know that yet, or is that still all up in the air?
Right now, I don't have anything on the schedule. Last year, we did Hockenheim, but that wasn't actually, we weren't there racing. We were there doing an event with Dodge Europe and KW, and we were filming for the In and Out series that I've been hosting on their official YouTube series. But I was running the night show. So like, we have a really big show at the Saturday night of Nitro Olympics, and I was running that. But this year they moved the schedule, so that race is actually going to collide with Brainerd. So depending on how our schedule is going to look, it might be a race where it collides with a race I will be at. And obviously that is the main goal, to race all of them, and Brainerd would be on my schedule. So we do not want to plan on going somewhere else during that weekend. So as it looks right now, I do not have any European races on my schedule.
Since you mentioned Brainerd, I want to, you guys were talking a little earlier about sportsmen or the sponsorship side of things. If somebody was looking to do a one-off, is that something that you're willing to talk about, or do you need somebody to be able to commit for 4 or 5 races? If somebody said, hey, look, my business is in Minnesota, I really want you to be in Minnesota, would you take a look at a one-off?
Absolutely. We're very open to that. And we are also ready with different bodies. If any sponsor would like to do maybe a one-off, or let's say that we have a sponsor that says, hey, we're only interested in Pomona and Vegas, or Pomona and Phoenix, or whatever it might be, we can wrap a body for those events, for those sponsors, or make certain arrangement that works for them in just those areas. That's absolutely a big opportunity for anybody that wants to come on board.
Awesome. Great news. All right, what about vibe check, European drag racing? You talked about Nitro Olympics, and I have not been, but I've heard that it's kind of more like a wild, scene. There's a party. You've raced motorcycles there. You've gone really fast over there. Versus NHRA Mission Foods National Event drag racing, where we got more competitors. I would imagine we have the same amount or maybe more fans, depending on where we are. Give us just like kind of a cross section of why they're different, what's the same about them, the different vibes when you come to the NHRA and compete here in the States.
Yeah, I mean, it's different depending on which European race you're at. I feel like some of the races we have more like loyal and enthusiastic fans than other places, and some races see 30,000 spectators in a weekend, and some of them can see we've heard that they have had 80,000 when we've been at the Nitro Olympics some weekends. And obviously that makes a difference in how many fans you have around you and all that. We have not been as many drivers in Europe, which also means that most of the people, if you come there to see Nitro and it's only 6 drivers, obviously we're gonna get a lot of them in our pit and, you know, coming around wanting to have an autograph or use part or whatever it might be. But I feel like Hockenheim has always been one of those where the fans have been, you know, just a little extra. And I think one of the reasons why Europe has that a lot is a lot of the times there's only one event per country, you know, one time a year. So everybody really make sure they go to that event. It even comes from other countries nearby just to see that event. And that plays part in why they get so big. I mean, a lot of people say racing in Europe is smaller, but obviously we have huge crowds. We just don't have, you know, the 2 million TV views that weekend because we don't broadcast on TV. But when you come over here in to the NHRA races, there's great crowds, but I do feel like there's a different on the crowds on different places. I feel like on some of the places, the fans were, I mean, when I debuted in Brainerd, the fans were absolutely fantastic. I remember so well when I went out that semifinals. I turned on a big red light. I felt like I sucked. Like that was a hard time for me. I sat inside, did everything I needed, and they said you have fans outside, and I said I'll be right to it. Like I needed to go through some stuff with the team, and when I walk out, there were so many people there. I couldn't understand it, and they were all, you know, clapping their hands, cheering for me, saying that they loved me. And I was like, why? I just red lit. What are you talking about? Like, why are you here for me? But they were so nice. Like it just had that vibe that you don't find everywhere, I kind of feel like. And I have to say that like Maple Grove was one of them too, where I just felt like the fans, they stuck around longer. They really wanted to stay there and talk to you. They wanted to, I think we didn't give out more parts any other place than we did at Maple Grove, because there was just so many people standing there waiting, a lot of families with kids that wanted to come see the race car and all that. So I feel like great crowds in NHRA everywhere, but sometimes you get those small places where you can just feel like the vibe is a little different, you know.
Love that.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned, and I guess I had never really thought about it, but in Europe, that you're going to different countries, there's a lot of travel in between events when you're going. But over here, it's very common to see the same fans at Epping that you would see at Reading, or at Vegas that you would see in Phoenix. Yeah. And that's got to be really different when somebody comes up and goes, hey, I remember what you did last week or 2 weeks ago. And you get a little bit more of a following, I guess, over here, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I've actually had a good, you know, following in US even before I came over here, and that's because of social media, obviously, and people, you know, interested in the sport. So I felt like even when I came over here, even when I wasn't racing, there was a good amount of people that came around because they knew I would be in the JCM pit and they wanted to talk to me and so on. And that made me feel really good too, because it felt like I wasn't just new, you know, it wasn't like nobody knew who I was. Obviously, a lot of the Americans have gotten to know me more this year with me being over here for the first year, but it gave me, you know, that feeling that I wasn't brand new over here, and it felt good. But obviously, just what you're mentioning with people that keep showing up on several events, or, you know, you see people that you might see on 6 or 7 events a year, that doesn't really happen the same way in Europe. If they're not there with a team, usually they only go to 1 or 2 events per year. Maybe if you go to 2 events, it's the 2 that are at Santa Pod in UK, because you go to the first one of the year and the last one of the year, but you usually don't travel around to different events. So that is a big difference for me.
Well, we need to change that, right? We need the Euro fans to go on a trek and hit multiple races and all that. There was a question
over here though. Like we've had a lot of Swedish fans over here, and I will say for some reason in Texas, I think I had 40 Swedish people. I didn't know them. Like just came by and said, "Hey, like we're here to watch you," and so on. So apparently that was a big market, so to say, for Swedes to come over, but also Gainesville. There was a lot of Swedes in Gainesville. I'm expecting it to be a lot this year too. But very cool to see how many Swedish and European people have come over to NHRA to watch us race.
What about that? The Johnny Lindbergh effect. Is that a thing? Like, did he pave a trail? Was there a trail blazed a little bit for you? Like that, you know, the Swedish drivers are great drivers and they know they're drag racing, and look at Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it helps that we have had several drivers here, and I think that there's probably a lot of fans that rooted for Johnny heavily, obviously when he raced and came over here, and now they're coming again. And then there's also a wave of new people that have found us recently, because I came over and they also found Johnny because now he's tuning for in funny cars. So I think right now everybody that really loves drag racing that are Swedish, they're sharing for me, and they're obviously sharing for Johnny for on the tuning side. So I think that's very cool to see.
Absolutely. And Bent Blomberg obviously is out there. He says Finland in the house. Bent, I know, was down there at the Stampede of Speed. Top Sports and Racer. Final question for Ida, Alan.
Well, I don't know that I have any more questions. I think she's answered everything. I'm really looking forward to getting started and looking forward to seeing your team get out there and hit the track. Hopefully you can find some extra sponsorship and expand your schedule, and hopefully you can bring even more fans from over on the other side of the world.
I really hope so too. Yeah, that's the goal.
Absolutely. Ida, thank you for making the time. Congratulations on continuing this process. You and Alexis on the same team. Super cool. Great marketing opportunity. Got a lot of attention in the social media in the first couple of weeks. You guys haven't even hit the track. I look forward to having you on the show when you win your way on, though. Like that's a different interview.
Absolutely. I look forward to that.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Ida. Appreciate it. Have a great season. We'll see you at the track.
Thank you. For sure.
Take care.
Ida Zetterstrom with us here on WFO Radio. She's going to win her way on the show, I think. Alan, I fully expect it.
They certainly got all the tools they need over there, with the funding of JCM. Even if they don't necessarily have the funding to run the full season, it's not like they're using 5-year-old parts, and they've got everything they need over there, and there's certainly plenty of knowledge. So, as she said, they were getting stronger towards the end of the year. They made their best runs in Pomona, and I think if they make some small adjustments in the car, and again, I don't know how many of the casual fans realize how important that stuff is. If the pedals aren't in the right place, I remember a number of years ago when Gary Selzy got in a white cap car, Bruce Larson, Bruce. Let me had been driving.
Sarver.
And yeah, Bruce Sarver. There you go. And Gary couldn't drive it. It was, he'd doink a block or drive out of the groove, and he was really, really struggling with it. And it was just a matter of Bruce liked the steering wheel in a different place that Gary did. And as silly as it sounds, right? I mean, you're driving theoretically in a straight line for 4 seconds, but being comfortable in the car is still very important. So those little tweaks that they make to get her comfortable, I think, are just going to make her even better.
No, I agree. Heard a lot about comfort in race cars last year. Excited about Ida. And if you're a fan of Ida, a fan of drag racing, please share the show for interviews like that. The more our people get to know our drivers, the more they will love the sport. Simple as that. Now, tough to talk about Ida without speculating a little bit about Tony Hsu, our greatest top fuel racer, 8 championships, 10 Indy wins, 88 wins. He put out a post on social media that said, don't worry, I'm working on sponsorship. It's not the right time to say anything just yet. This was a Facebook, it's in our WFO group, his direct post. But Tony put out a communication that made me feel hopeful that we might see him out there as well.
Well, I hope so too. It is certainly it's a better race when Tony Schumacher is a part of it, simply because of the credentials he brings. When Don Garlits was in his heyday, and back then racing was a little more fractured than it is now. He didn't necessarily go to every event from every sanctioning body, but when he was there, it was better. When Tony Schumacher is there, it's better. And hopefully they will be able to put something together. Tony it really kind of amazes me that he's struggled as much as he has the last couple of years, because when you look at his resume, you look at, just everything that he is a tremendous speaker. If you're looking for somebody to reach out to the youth market, he was a speaker, part of the youth and education services with NHRA for a number of years. He can speak at corporate events. He can do everything outside of the race car, and certainly his resume inside the race car speaks for itself. So hopefully they'll be able to find the right combination to get him back out there, because it's simply a better event when Tony's part of it.
100%. He's got a great fan base. He's got so much going on. Just tough story, right? Tough story. But that's what's wrong with drag racing right now. We're trying to get past this, the funding. We got so many talented, great, wonderful personalities funding these cars. And Tony Shortall told me once, he goes, a lot of people can afford to have one. Very few people can afford to feed one. And I love the word feed, like to feed a top fuel dragster, run for the full points. I don't think people fully understand exactly what it takes. So I wish Tony good luck. And obviously the second he's got something, he is invited to come on WFO, and we'll do what we can to talk about it. All right. You mentioned PBIR, and this is very near and dear to my heart. We've talked about it. Formerly Moroso Motorsports Park, for those that don't know, quarter-mile drag strip located in West Palm Beach, Florida, like 25, 30 minutes, maybe 40 from West Palm Beach International Airport, an hour from Fort Lauderdale, hour 40 from Miami, very close to millions and millions of people embedded in an area of protected wetland. So it can only be as big as it is, 174 acres, full concrete quarter mile. The bones are there. Someone can now buy it. It was not for sale as a drag strip previously. Now, as I understand it, the lot is for sale as whoever wants to buy it wants to make it. Like we could turn it into, whatever, but keeping it a drag strip, a road course, karting course, all possible. I heard the number, and this is totally unsubstantiated, $30 million. I don't know that that's true. I got some people working on it, land developer types, to try to get to the bottom of how much we got to come up with there, Reinhart, you and me. But to me, this is a big opportunity.
We've talked for so many years about Joe and Alan Racing. Why not Joe and Alan Raceway?
I love it.
Right?
Send it.
I think I can.
To start off the money, I'm going to auction right now to the highest bidder for Joe and Alan Raceway this authentic Don the Snake Prudhomme Pepsi Challenger hat from 1982. It has got to be one of only like a few out there that exist, but it's going to take $28 million that we'll put up from the hat. And then, Reinhart, you come up with the rest and we'll be in business.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, somebody who wants to, just need a philanthropist, right? Somebody who just wants to support racing, if you donate $1 million, I will send you a can of Foggett.
Can of Foggett. There it is. There
can
we're
of
going.
Foggett.
I'm going to throw
donate $1 million. I will send you a can of Foggett. And I think I've got
WFO branded flask.
I don't know if I've got 30 cans of Foggett here, but if 30 people want to donate $1 million for a can of Foggett, I will find more Foggett. I think I can make that happen.
$250,000, a WFO branded flask. And we're buying a racetrack here today, folks.
We're on our way.
all joking aside, this is a chance. It's not going to be a national event facility, but it could be a B-Spec facility like South Georgia Motorsports Park. It could be the New England Dragway style event. Like you might have to be a small event, but you could get 15, 20,000 people in there. Parking would be an issue, but there are ways to do it. Drag racing community, unite, form up, save this track. Get in there, kick some tire, get these people to talk numbers, and we've got to figure it out. And Bobby Bennett, Competition Plus, wrote a story, is writing a story. Drag Illustrated, first on the scene with a story. Good job, guys. Like, we got to save this track because it's still alive. The tower, the iconic tower, is still there. Cletus bought into Bradenton Motorsports Park. Cletus, you got the money, baby. I don't know. See, that's the thing is I don't know. A lot of money. I don't know.
Well, and Joe, you'd know more about this than I do, but as I understand it, that racetrack had a pretty good road racing contingent, right? I mean, a lot of people down in that part of the world that have exotic cars that want to come out and play. And so there's more income possibilities than just, Saturday night bracket racing and try to do whatever you can with the drag strip. So hopefully somebody will. Okay.
Let's take 2 minutes to tell you the history of it, because this is one of the tracks that I grew up at. The original Moroso Motorsports Park, which prior to Dick owning it, like a couple of different people owned it. I'm not so sure on the history. Rupp's track was a short track. It was kind of outlaw track. They had like a Woodstock style festival there. Like the Stones played there. There's like drugs in the sand, in the dirt there. It's crazy. But it had a integrated road course into the drag strip. So you could only be doing one or the other. So when Dick Moroso bought the thing in, I think, 1981, 82, he was very drag racing centric. But when I started to come on the scene in like 1989, 1990, and we would go bracket race there, the road course guys would be using the track during the day. and they would wrap up like 4:30, 5 o'clock, and you'd see all these Ferrari F40s and Testarossas rolling out of the track, driving home. And then the drag racers would go in, and we would set up and we would use the drag strip. That's the way it was until the early 2000s makeover, when the track was purchased, and you remember IHRA was involved and all of these things. And they said to themselves, let's split the two tracks so we can have road course racing going at the exact same time as drag racing is going. And they accomplished that goal. Now, it helped some things, because you've got a world-class road course there. You've got a karting course there. You got like drifting pad. You've got all kinds of great stuff over there for guys who like to turn. But that did limit drag racing pit area to only one side of the track. So it did cut down the number of cars that could be there by a little bit. But we got an all concrete quarter mile, Alan. We got a nice flat surface that people love, so much so that Top Fuel tested there with the Pro Winter warm up. And we had, 10,000 people come out for a test. So there's pros and cons to the new layout, but it's still a beautiful drag strip. What does the track need? It needs a timing system. Big deal. We can figure that out. Needs bleachers. Cletus bought the bleachers the first time, and the Palm Beach bleachers are now at Brainerd International over there, Victor's track. Bleachers, come on, let's push Bradenton. I'm sorry,
not Brainerd,
Bradenton, right across the state. But Chicago's got more bleachers than they can use, man. We can buy bleachers. We can find bleachers, baby. And obviously, there's light poles everywhere. I don't know if there's lights on them. I don't know if those were taken out, but the tower is still there. The track is still there. The lanes are still there. The walls are still there. There's a lot of bones there that are good foundation for a divisional track. Definitely a B-spec, like Georgia shootout style, Peach State shootout style track. Definitely. I have been there when the house has been packed, like made a lot of money. Jet car shows, Super Chevy shows, Street Outlaws. Seen it packed. It could be packed again if you got somebody in there who knew how to run it. And then finally, location. South Florida real estate, close to airports and millions of people. Like, just if you bought it and did nothing with it, it would be worth twice what it's worth now in 5-10 years. So
now, don't say that.
It's a huge investment.
Don't say that. We don't want somebody to go, oh, look, I can sell it for more than the racetrack's worth, because that's bit us a few times over the years in the past.
It's a sad fact.
Hopefully, somebody out there is willing to make the investment, somebody that will keep it in the drag racing family, because they're going away faster than they're being built right now. And so anytime we have an opportunity to save or bring back an existing racetrack, man, I'm in. Anything I can do to help.
All right. You mentioned the U.S. Streetcar Nationals and Wes and the Drag Illustrated winter series that they've got going on at Bradenton. Yeah, like it's all at the same track. Like we could add a fourth track or a fifth track. Like, Wes, if you're out there, orchestrate this, man. You could have a 5-race series instead of a 3-race series. It's just as simple. It's an hour and a half. It's like an hour and 50 minutes from Palm Beach to Bradenton, something like that.
Yeah, they'd probably sick. We could love to stop by too, don't you think? I mean,
right. You see this whole Florida thing.
Should I get a calendar? We're gonna have to start like working weekends,
For so many years, racing in Florida, we had all these tracks and all these options and not a lot of racing. And now we've got so much racing, drag and drive, pro mod races, big money bracket races. You don't think Peter Biondo would like to do Spring Fling South at the former home of the Moroso 5-Day and rekindle the soul of that big money race, the one that really started it all for all those people? Like, really? Those guys, those old school guys, the Folk family, all those guys, Connolly, all those guys, they wouldn't love to come back and run in the same location as those great races? Come on now, we got to make it happen, but we'll see.
That would be the spring break fling. Huh?
This guy's coming.
Huh?
Marketing ideas.
There we go. Now we can put that on the calendar too. There's I mean, hopefully whoever ends up buying the property, buying the land is somebody that is going to keep it race centric, because I said they're going away faster than they're being built. So anytime we can save one, I'd be all for that. And there's a way I can help them in.
This is you, man. Koretsky, captain. You could be a hero. You could own 2. It could be like Maple Grove South, whatever. Change.
Yeah, you you don't want to be in Pennsylvania in January and February. Wouldn't you much rather be in Florida?
Wouldn't you? Wouldn't everybody? Sorry, guys. It's true. All right. Let's switch topics to a couple of other things. Just, general talk. And I wanted to talk about something. I never talk politics really on the air, but I did have something that I wanted to say because I think a lot of accomplishing politically is about timing. And this whole RPM Act that everyone has been talking about for like the past 6-7 years, the timing, we had the pandemic. They're not going to pass the RPM Act during the pandemic when the country is like having a problem. And, different political parties have different priorities. So it didn't seem really likely the last run they made at it like 3 years ago that it was going to happen. But I really think like right now, regardless of personal politics of motorsports, everyone should be putting as much pressure as they can on their locals right now, because it seems like if there was a window that opened and closed or maybe got bigger and smaller, the hole that you could drive through, it would be as big as it's going to get and maybe getting a little bigger in the next 2 years. So all those videos about the RPM Act like 3 years ago, like I think it's time to rekindle that right now. I'm hoping that SEMA and those guys are on it, but I wanted to bring that to the air, because if you really believe in that, now's the time.
I would agree with that. I think that, it's with everything that is changing now and with, the new regime, so to speak, coming in, let's get it on the table again. Let's get it out in front of them. And I would think that the time to do that was before you get buried by everything else, right? I mean, if you're going someplace where you don't have an appointment, if you're there pretty early in the morning, you usually get in quicker than somebody that shows up, at rush hour. So, getting after it now and getting started with the movement would certainly be a positive, I would think, and hopefully, get it out in front of the decision makers, and let's see if we can get that done, because the hot rodders aren't trying to bypass anything. We're just trying to protect the rights of what we've always had, and a well-tuned race engine is not a threat to the environment or to global warming or anything else. So, the racers spend more time, more energy making sure that their cars are well-tuned and running at peak performance, which is minimal waste, so to speak. So I would, I'm with you. Let's get on board with that.
Well, and I wanted to be, I don't know, like first through the door is not right about that, but like if you got 100 people, you're going to have many varying views on any one topic, right? Like we could talk about any one of 100 issues and we could get mad at each other and start screaming at each other. But in this community, this issue, I think we pretty much universally agree upon that cars as a form of hobby and learning and life lessons and how to work with your hands and how to work a machine and a reason to get in there and learn something new and train a young person to do something, like those things that come really uniquely from motorsport are so valuable that it's worth talking about and pushing forward and fighting forward. And by the way, this is bipartisan. There are people from both sides of and no sides of the political divides that are in on this. So now is the time. Like, get out your old, YouTube videos and call your Congress people and try to get on the radar with the RPM Act now, because there is no guarantee that like what is happening at this moment is going to always be happening. And we could be fighting the same fight 8 years down the road. If it happens 8 years down the road, we're like, oh my gosh, what happened? That's what creating a law is about. I'm just a bill. Remember Schoolhouse Rock? You got to make a law or it's not permanent. Like, if you make a law, then they got to change the law, which is much more complicated. That's it. I'm off the government politics soapbox, literally. But now's the time, people. Now's the time.
Vote for Joe. Vote for Joe.
Our people, yeah. Like a lot of people have said that, right? I would think I would be murdered. But all right, let's talk anything else. NHRA have been doing a great job on stats. The folks at NHRA.com have put out a lot of stats. The loans, he's crunching the stats. And Dallas Glenn and Aaron Stanfield, 1 and 2 in driver stats and pro stock. Kind of a shock, but Greg Anderson wins the championship.
Well, Greg Anderson, when the pressure was on, showed up in Pomona and delivered. But yeah, Aaron Stanfield is not going anywhere. Dallas Glenn is not going anywhere. Those two, I think, are, they're going to be the faces in the sport for a long time, as long as they both have the desire to do it, because they certainly both have the ability to do it. The funding looks like it's in good shape, so it's going to be fun to watch those two battling it out again. We've talked about in the past that I think anybody that's followed the class for any amount of time expects Erica to come back with a chip on her shoulder this year, simply because by her standards, she didn't have a great year last year. So that's going to be in the middle of the mix. Greg Stanfield getting into a pro stock car is going to be something. And, there are a lot of others out there that really are on the ready to win list, right? Where they've been to final rounds, they've been number one qualifiers, they've gone, you put all of the Quadra boys on that list, put Jerry Don Tucker on that list, put, the number of drivers that have been out there. And I think that, Pro Stock is going to be fun to watch. I love the stat thing. I also love what they've been doing with the top 5 lists, being such a Pro Stock centric guy, going back and looking at the top 5, when the headline said top 5, whatever it was, oddball Pro Stock machines to win.
Yep. Before
I even clicked on the video, I went, okay, there's this one, there's this one, there's this one. I got 3 out of 5 right. But, Brian digging into the archives and doing stuff like that is pretty cool. And I think it's great that they keep fresh content and keep interesting stuff coming out during the winter break. We're going to be back on track before you know it. So we'll be back to race results and that kind of stuff instead of what we've got now. But what they're doing is pretty cool.
All right, slightly controversial, and this is like, I don't want to tackle these things. But sometimes when you do a show like this, you got to tackle things like this. We talked about it in depth last night on the Ignition Audio Only podcast, by the way. But there's a whole thing. Summer Richardson went onto the Facebook and she said that her sponsor was banned, and the sponsor, of course, OnlyFans, which does many things, but the lion's share of those things are adult related. And a lot of people immediately jumped on and was like, this is, terrible and all of that thing. I did some basic reporting and I have gotten some feedback. I did send a request into NHRA for a what's your side of the deal? I haven't gotten a response just yet, but from what I understand to be true is that the word banned isn't necessarily accurate, right? Like banned, it's about sizing, it's about positioning, it's about a lot of different stuff. We've been down this road before, Alan, with alcohol sponsors, with gambling sponsors. This is one where, the sanction made the decision like, hey, we don't want to do this. What, as far as I know, what do you know?
I don't know anything about it. I know, what I've seen online, but I have not spoken to anybody at NHRA or Summer or any of her group. I can certainly understand her disappointment if she had a deal in place, but I also think that what most people think of is OnlyFans, and I'm not on it. But as you've said, it's adult content. And I don't know, if you are presenting yourself as a family-friendly sport, bring the kids, bring the stuff, then advertising with adult-only content is something that you certainly are going to have to take a close look at. And what goes into making that decision is, way above my pay grade. And who makes that decision is, an office quite a few floors above mine. I hate the fact that, Summer looked like she had things in place to come out and, run a season or run a complete schedule. And now that's not going to happen. But, I also think, when we tell people, bring your kids, look at the junior events, look at the things that we do, look at all the stuff, that having adult content sponsors is something that you would need to take a very close look at.
Yeah, well, exactly. And it's a great challenge, unfortunately, but I think they're sorting it out. The problem is the problem.
I know. I'm sorry, Joe, but one of the conversations online went to, what about when Penthouse was out here on a car? Or what about, we used to do tobacco and tobacco's terrible. And what about this and what about that? But what you did 50 years ago is completely irrelevant to what's going on today. I put out a post that said, 50 years ago, my dad would give 10-year-old me a note and send me to the store to get cigarettes, or I could just get them out of a vending machine. 50 years ago, if you got stopped drunk driving, there was a pretty good chance that the cop was going to give you a ride home. 50 years ago, what my dad said was discipline is called child abuse right now.
Right.
There are a lot of things that we used to do that now are getting a closer look. And especially since everything's under a bigger spotlight, right? Since you're online now, since you're on television on a regular basis now, since you really need to, at a corporate level, I would think, be careful about, what your brand is promoting when you are promoting. We are family friendly. We have, look at the kids, look at the kids, look at the kids. I remember when the Junior Drag Racing League first started coming out and we were running them in exhibition at the national events. One of the absolute from the top, this is law. Don't ever mention the Winston lane, the Budweiser lane, the Coors lane when there's a 10-year-old kid on the track. You cannot do anything that associates tobacco, alcohol with kids. And some of those sponsors have gone away, but it's a different world that we live in these days, right? When you used to bring 12-year-old kids and 14-year-old kids in the winter circle and you give them a Winston hat so they could hang out there and look good with their dad, you just can't do that anymore. And so with adult content websites and adult content things, I think that you need to be very careful before you decide yay or nay. And we'll see how it all comes out.
22-year-old Joe would have had a different opinion on this than I do now. It just as I've seen more and evolved more and realized, I don't have kids, but I've got people who have got kids, certainly interacted with a lot of people with kids at the track. I get it. The whole penthouse thing and the cigarettes thing. I get all of it. Should we turn away sponsor money? I know it's tough, but you got Fox, and I don't know how involved or if they were involved at all. It has been reported by some media outlet that I don't know that they were mentioned, but I can't say that that's accurate or not accurate. I don't know that, but I know who our sponsors are, and I know that they have opinions. It makes sense that there would be some opinions. It's tough. But what I also know is that regardless of the outcry that's happening now, however large it is, that when it went in the other direction, there would be an equally large outcry in the other direction. There's always going to be kind of like a seesaw counterbalance to the deal. So it's not uniform outrage. It's a bummer, but there would be outrage the other way too. And, that's why certain people get paid the big bucks to make these decisions, because they are tough decisions that will have repercussions down the road that we can't even think of what they are. It's tough stuff. All right. One more question for you. We're going to keep it controversial. As I'm talking controversy, the numbers are going up and everybody wants to get in on the controversy. We had Ida on and everybody sharing the show, hopefully subscribing. I'd love to get over 5,000 on our YouTube channel, please. Thank you very much. So share the show. But this is a big one. Josh Hart, he put it out on the Twitter X, and it's a hot topic. Beard or no beard?
Well, as a general rule, I don't look at other guys and go, hey, that's but I think beard makes him look a little meaner.
Reinhart says beard.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, I'm helping Josh. I don't want to steal his X traffic, but I saw this post. Most people who have followed my broadcast for the last 30 years know I am anti-beard. Don't like the whole beard thing. When beards came around, there's only one person that I know of that the beard has actually worked for, and that's Brian Loans, who went from ordinary announcer to voice of NHRA strictly by growing a beard. He'll tell you that. He was a regular guy like the rest of us. And then next thing you know, he's voice of the NHRA. Why? He grew it with garbage. He grew a beard. Yeah. On Fox. He's the guy because of the beard. He'll tell you. It's amazing. But when Josh Hart, remember when Sean and JR and everybody was growing the beard, we're all taking the Seinfeld vacation from ourselves with the beard. I always thought, who needs a vacation from yourself when your life is already great? But when Josh Hart does it, I got to tell you, that's a pretty good looking beard right there. I think I might say, look at it. It's got the perfect symmetry. It's got the whole thing going on. He's got the burn. He's hot racking. He does look kind of tough. He looks maybe a little more intimidating with the beard. I think I'm inclined to vote beard as well.
Okay.
What say you, audience? Beard or no beard?
2 thumbs up from the WFO universe.
That's it. And, the black and white picture makes it look kind of tough, too. He's looking kind of tough. New year, new season, new look. Josh Hart. All right. And people out there, they're definitely, look, Justin Ashley is out there checking out the show, Alan. That's the kind of people that are on in our audience. Great show as always. Josh's beard is a 10 out of 10. Alan's mustache is an 11 out of 10, both A+.
Whoa. Well, I appreciate that. I've had this since I was, I don't know, like 11 years old. And, you know, it's funny, when I decided I wanted to grow a mustache, so I just decided I was never going to shave it. And, you know, the typical little kid thing, right? You go in the mirror and go, yeah, okay, it's really coming in nice now. And, you know, 6 months later, somebody go, oh, wait, you got something on your face. Oh, wait, never mind. And interestingly enough, I have had it my entire adult life, except for about 2 weeks. I just one morning got up, whatever, years ago, and decided, yeah, enough, shaved it off. Nobody noticed. I mean, not a word from people I worked with, from people that nothing. And after 2 weeks, I decided, you know what, enough of this. I'm just going to let it. And as soon as it started growing back, everybody said, oh, hey, you're growing a mustache. That's cool.
Yeah, Alex. That's crazy. Well, so I had a goatee once, like right out of high school, and it was weird, but it worked. Like there are certain people that are just attracted to that. Like all of a sudden I was getting attention from people I hadn't gotten attention from previously. I don't like, what is it? I was the only 19-year-old kid with a goatee, and it was working for me, but we haven't done that since. Lonnie says, grow the beard like Big Daddy did until he wins again. Right? Blake loves the face picture. Everybody's loving it. Big Daddy is just down the road from Josh. You should definitely do it. All right, Josh, the WFO universe has weighed in, including Justin Ashley, and we all say, go with the beard, brother. Go with the beard. Right? Simple as that.
Yep.
All right, Alan, before we
it's unanimous.
I want to tell everybody a little Project Pontiac stuff, all that as we get ready to part ways. Colby Fuller going to be on tomorrow, a little pre-recorded action while I go work on the Pontiac to try to get inside of 30 days for divisional action. We're getting closer. So it's amazing. Colby, the Super Comp world champion, had a great year. He's a genuine Southeastern Division II guy. Grew up watching his dad bracket race and grudge race, and goes out there and wins world championship at 25 years old. He was 24. But any final thoughts? Anything else you want to throw out there before we part ways?
Well, I do have one piece of breaking news. I wanted to save this till the end of the show. Basically, it's this. I am not returning to the NHRA to be part of the announcing staff of the national event side in 2025. It's been just a hell of a ride for the last 30 plus years. The first time NHRA put me on a plane to take me to a race was 1991. The first time I announced, I believe it was 1989 at the national event level, when I just came out and did my local race at Firebird for a couple of years, and then joined the staff. But the last 30 plus years have been a really, really fun, wild, incredible ride. I've met a lot of people. I've gotten to see a lot of things. I've gotten to do a lot of things, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. But good things do come to an end, and this is one of them. It's just after all the time, after all the travel, after all the stuff, it is time for a change. And I can't tell you exactly what I'm going to do next. I have been speaking to a number of different people, some race teams, some racetracks, some other things about staying involved in the sport at some level. Hopefully before Brainerd, I'll have something locked down. Could happen pretty soon. I just don't have anything locked down yet. But yeah, after 30 plus years of being the first guy there in the morning and playing Come On Eileen and all the travel, all the hours, all the hotels, all the stuff, I will not be part of the NHRA announcing team on the national event side going forward from here. And whatever happens next, stay tuned. I'll let you know on my social channels or wherever as soon as I know.
Wow. Just wow, gut punch right there. You said Brainerd, like I said Brainerd, but do you mean
Bradenton? Bradenton.
We both.
Yeah.
It's my fault because I put that in your brain, and it's my fault.
Well, actually, you know what it is? How much do you love Christy Copham?
The most.
Today's her birthday. So that's what's got me thinking about Brainerd is I need to send her happy birthday wishes. And but yeah, that's what had Brainerd on my mind.
Here comes the reaction now, Alan. Like, that's the thing. It's like you drop this is a nuclear weapon on top of the WFO universe right here. And Monica, no, it just won't be the same. My kid is going to be crushed. some form of child abuse. Alan, way to go. Oh man, love hearing you announcing. Obviously, no. This is quite the twist of news. I'm speechless, says Henry. Eddie, wow, you'll be missed. Holy crap, says Jim Essex. All of these things. I'm like, I hate it very long. Looks good. Talking about your beard, all of that. Best of luck in your ventures. We're going to miss you. Okay. Can I push back like a little bit?
Sure.
Are you sure? Like this is the right move?
Yep. It's time. And, just from a little, I don't know, behind the scenes, for lack of a better term, I'm not quitting and I didn't get fired. I'm a contractor. I have been a contractor the entire time. My contract ended in 2024. I've had a couple of discussions with NHRA during the winter break, and it just seems that we're not going to come to terms for 2025 going forward. So, we've had, at least I have had a tremendous time the last, again, 30 plus years. Brian Loans is talking about, and NHRA's got a big celebration coming up at the Charlotte 4-Wide. It's going to be the 1,000th top fuel race in NHRA history. I think I've been to 730 of them or something like that. I've been, on the road for a long time and doing this for a long time, and times change. As I said, good things come to an end, and this one has run its course. So we'll see what happens next. But it's certainly strange not being online looking for plane tickets to Gainesville right now. So just things change. The world keeps moving. Drag racing certainly is going to continue on. And my hope and my very sincere thought is that I'm still going to be involved in drag racing, and just not sure exactly when and where. And I said I've been in discussions with some different groups. So hopefully soon something will be lined out in stone, and I'll be able to make an announcement. But it's time for a change.
Well, okay. So for those that don't know, Alan has been a mentor to me as an announcer and a drag racing brain, like someone to think about the inside of drag racing. Prior to that, I talked about it on talk radio and certainly bracket raced myself, but the business side, the behind the scenes side, been doing this since 2005, like just talking drag racing together. And we had some great conversations when Mr. Fry went to retire, like, Joe, like this is something you should think about. And we've worked together for like the last, it feels like, it's 2025. That was 2012. Do the math. It's like 13 years. This is definitely a big change. But most importantly, though, whatever is best for you is like what I care about. Whatever is best for you and what you think is right is the right thing. And so I support whatever you think is the right thing.
Well, I appreciate that. And, I'm not leaving the planet, so I'm reasonably sure that I'm still going to have interactions and run across people and be around. So we'll just, we'll see what the next chapter is. I don't have anything officially locked down yet, but hopefully very soon. And whatever the new adventure is, I always enjoyed going to new places, doing new things, seeing new things. And so whatever the future is, it'll be new, and new adventures are something that I've been chasing for a long time. So it was a hell of a run. I enjoyed it more than you can possibly imagine. And it's just time for a change.
We don't have the rights. Otherwise I would play like some solemn music, like Time of My Life, Green Day, something like that. But we don't have the rights to do that. Alan, all right. Well,
I figured you'd play Come On,
man. What a buzzkill, man. Like, oh my gosh, we have Ida, like everybody is like up and up, and like here we are. It's like, oh, Reinhart. All right. Well, thank you for everything, obviously. But like you said, you're not leaving the planet. Okay. Alan is still alive, guys. He's still alive. The CUDA is going to get finished. It's all going to be great. We're going to digest this and get back to everybody. All right. Well, Alan, thank you very much for another wonderful Tuesday.
So sorry to end it so badly and so abruptly. If anybody has a $2 million a year executive position that comes with a private jet and a company car, you can find me. I'm Alan Reinhart at gmail.com. Just put job offer in the top, so I'll know that you're not trying to get me a CVS gift card or Sam's Club membership or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, and like if there's a sidekick job for that for about $750, I can do that. All right.
Well, I might need somebody to wash the plane.
Yes, exactly. I'm not doing that. But hey, it is what it is. All right, Alan. Great job as usual. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And
Thanks,
we'll talk soon. There he goes.
Yeah, it's been a great 20 years.
Alan Reinhart, voice of the NHRA, shocks the world. You're on WFO Radio. I don't even know how to react. I'm going to digest it and think about it and get back with you after I tell you about our great sponsors here on WFO Radio. Listen, we went right to Ida at the start of the show. I got to tell you about the people who make this amazing show that just broke all kinds of news possible. Like, who are the people who make it possible for me to go WFO? And the answer is Bernie's Speed Shop is one of them. We're having a little fun with Josh Hart and Beard No Beard, right? I never say beard, but I'm saying beard on this time. But really, Bernie's is looking for inventory, guys. Looking for inventory for their showroom. I think I got a little something for them. Bernie's, BURNYZZ.com. If you got a classic, if you got an exotic, if you got something in there, a barn find with like 800 miles on it that's 1 of 50 and you don't know how to get rid of it in the right way, that's what Bernie's does. Bernie's Speed Shop. Go check them out. Our great friends at HusseyPerformance.net. Go to the website. They're not just copper head gaskets anymore. They do all kinds of gaskets, regular gasket material, oil pan gaskets, valve cover gaskets, but they also do their tried and true copper head gaskets. In fact, Project Pontiac needed some exhaust gaskets, called up David, got 2 different sets, could use the copper and the standard material. It's not a standard material. He called it something else. But anyway, it's amazing. And now they're on the car. How about that? HusseyPerformance.net. Call David Allen. CWT Industries. This is balance machines, guys. Balance machines for your machine shop. Your old balancer, it's garbage. It's like slow, and you got to train on it, and it's not intuitive, and it's not touchscreen, and it probably doesn't do as good a job as the CWT Industries balancer. Now, a little hyperbole there, right? Why is the new one better than the old one? Because the old one is garbage. You got to do the new one. But Randy Neal has worked very hard to put together an industry-leading machine. And so you can email me, joe@wforadio.com, or just go to the website, CWT Industries, because if it rotates, it can be balanced. Folks at FTIperformance.com sending me a new yoke for my rollerized tail shaft on our FTI Performance 180 straight cut gear set Power Glide that's going in the Project Pontiac. There's all kinds of stuff that product and part didn't exist the last time I needed a transmission. And so the folks at FTI making it happen. Will Project Pontiac hit the track? If it does, it will be because of folks at FTIperformance.com and their amazing customer service and what we've been doing with the dyno sheets and the weight of the car to make the torque converter as good as efficient as is possible and have this thing come off the stop and run 1090s. Amazing stuff. FTIperformance.com. Call Grant. Tell him Castello told you to talk to Grant. Like, Grant's my bud over there, and he's been helping out on this whole project. So if you're going to call, might as well ask for Grant, and let's loop it all together. Folks at Total Seal had an amazing car show out at Total Seal. Young engineers, the benefit, and did a lot of great stuff. Hartford is back from the Arctic after spending some time with the seals and the walruses and the penguins. Is it walleye? I don't think so. But Total Seal Piston Ring, still the industry leader when it comes to ring seal technology. Project Pontiac has got Total Seal rings. We pulled 19 pounds of vacuum right from jump. Crazy. So much so, thank you very much. Now I got to buy a regulator to tune down the vacuum from Moroso. So thank you, Total Seal. Great vacuum, great ring seal, totalseal.com. Go to the website, find out more, and be sure to check out Hidden Horsepower. Jesse Converters, the DPFX Fit. Eric Latino run Pro Stock. Matt Latino got his Pro Stock license, but this is for over the road. Diesel trucks, catalytic converters that are bolt in, all the clamps, total OE replacement. Check it out, DPFX Fit. They also have their G Sport line for those of you running unleaded fuel on your cool hot rods, and you have to comply. With state regulations. The G Sport works. So go to Jesse Converters, check them out, DPFX Fit. Also, a big shout out to our great friend Marvin Rodak. Marvin, keep on keeping on. Marvin kind of, had a bit of a tough moment recently. I don't want to share all the personal details, but we love this guy so much. 817-924-6821. And the guy is just pure goodness in the world. Order some coffee from him, hot sauce, spice rub, and that goodness will extend beyond his personality. And Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure, all kinds of great stuff happening at Frank and Lana, doing a great job. FrankHawley.com. Do the Dragster Adventure. Drive a dragster in 2025. Do something new. And of course, our great friends at Foggit, Foggit, Foggit.com, the spray that everybody should have at least 10 cans in their shop because it works on everything, but it works best on your cylinder finish to protect your incredible investment, something that I did not do with my previous version of Project Pontiac, but I will now be overdoing, if there's such a thing, with the new version because so much work, so much effort has gone on into this deal. Simple as that. Folks at Wright Trailers, I just want to shout out to these guys, 833-331 Wright. If you need a trailer, definitely call Michael Scott and the team, Wright Trailers, because I'm not just a sponsor. I am a client. Project Pontiac had to go to TBM Brakes last week. Towing it over there in the rain, this thing was a flawless tow. 1998 trailer, been redone by the folks at Wright Trailers. And it was a flawless tow to and back. I'm kind of tired at the end of the day. And I got home because the thing was driving like a dream. So if you need a trailer, call Michael Scott, Wright Trailers. And then PowerTube TV, someplace to watch WFO Radio. This episode is going to be big on PowerTube TV. Ida and Reinhart is big breaking news. And Joe gets political about the RPM Act, all this stuff happening. And by PBIR, certainly. Did you see the Proc family on WFO? Please watch that. Jimmy and Thomas and Austin, they were great. They were great together. Love that fam. And they are the bar now. So if you're gunning for someone, that's who you're gunning for. Really amazing. So cool having Ida on the show. Got to get Alexis as well. But Ida, I love her perspective on racing in the United States. All right. Final comments in the comments section. And then I got a video I want to drop on you. That's right. I got a little video that we put together following the PRI trade show, the Project Pontiac debut. We're going to put it up on our YouTube channel as well in the Project Pontiac playlist. But you guys who are already logged on to WFO, you might as well watch it. And I think it's pretty cool. But let's read your comments in the comment section first. I was chef at Brown's Country Buffet and cooked for many like Alan and drivers during the Gator National, says Homegrown Sue. Awesome. Good looking car, Joe. Thank you. Working real hard on it. Stay on WFO. That's for Alan, of course. Great. We're definitely going to report on what his next thing is. Obviously, there'll be a little morphing going on, but Reinhart is, it's like a brother, man. You can't get rid of him if you wanted to. Like Reinhart and I have been connected for a quarter century. Great 20 years. What a surprise. Justin Freebird. Wow, man. Grown up hearing his voice. I think you'll still hear his voice in certain places. Oh my God. It was just very sad. It was a down moment. Vacuum measured in inches, not pounds. Thank you very much, Steve. Good point. Let's see. Joe, are the Smalls throwing a wrench in the works for being ready for the first race? Yeah, the Smalls are. The Smalls, man. Are you kidding me? Like, who knew? I have a whole new respect for everybody that's got like a real top level race car, because the Smalls, like the little things, like the small things, like the ANN fittings, setting up the oil line, like that is killing me. It's killing me. Thank goodness I'm getting some help from the folks at Summit, and the car is built with Summit. And I'll be going on the Summit Racing Equipment live stream in the next few weeks to talk about Project Pontiac, but not everything. And it's been amazing. So guys, like there's all these build projects in the world. I would hope you would follow along with Project Pontiac because, man, I'm putting everything I got into this. I don't need to, I don't deserve to be out there. I don't have what it takes, but I'm doing it anyway. So please follow along. Good luck in the future to Alan. Hi from Chandler, Arizona. Going to make a drive back down to Tucson to say hi to Alan. Alan, just a warning, Jim Essex is on his way to your shop. Great ignition show. It really was. It was a very powerful ignition show. Very mighty and powerful. I can't believe NHRA would lose a legend. Well, like Alan just made the statement, like who knows what'll happen. Like, I've seen crazier things. You can't talk enough about Project Pontiac, please more, says the Dirt Merchant. Thank you for saying that, because I don't know. I think that inherently my training is that I'm talking about a topic or another driver or celebrity like Ida or having someone like Alan on as an expert guest, but to talk about my own endeavors is kind of anti to my own programming. It's kind of anti to my own programming. And so when I do it, I feel a little cringy about it, but now I'm doing it. And so I'm talking about it. Like the worst thing that I've ever done, like my worst trait is self-promotion, like self-promotion, like self stuff. You know, I don't know why, just something, but I'm doing it. Just like I don't deserve to be out there. I'm doing it. I'm not a good self-promoter. I'm doing it. Get involved. Project Pontiac. I'm your old lawnmower grass cutting guy. Oh, I was David. Oh, well, you can use your name, I think. Who is this? Like, I gotta, don't tell me on the air. Never know. Never mind. Send me a direct message. Right. All right. So now to bring the show back up, hopefully, we're going to watch the Project Pontiac PRI video. Braylon Rooker put this together, overcame technical glitches, audio glitches to capture the moment. There were some interviews that happened that unfortunately, due to some, I don't know what it was, like Chinese influenced radio waves or something. But we did have an audio glitch that made, and it unfortunately affected some things, or maybe it was just the sound of the convention hall, but none of that matters. He captured the moment. Let's check out the PRI debut in the Fonget booth of Project Pontiac. To get it right is to build it from scratch. We have made well over our target, which was 800 horsepower. And so now we're headed to the PRI show. The engine's going to be on display in the Fonget booth. WFO, everybody. Project Pontiac is here at the PRI trade show, a collection of the racing's greatest.
I'm a Pontiac guy, so this is cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Been amazing. Everybody coming by, checking out the engine. They all seem to like it. I love it. I am thrilled. What is next is we are going to ship this engine back to South Florida, and the real journey begins. We're going to be working on the car, putting it in, racing against time to make Speed World Dragway in Orlando, February 21st, 22nd, the start of NHRA Lucas Oil 2025. Can we make it? What will happen? Who knows? But you should follow by subscribing to the channel. More videos to come. Thanks to everybody who made this happen. And of course, thank you to the people who made it happen. Thank you to our sponsors, Project Pontiac, and everybody who has helped behind the scenes. Like, I cannot list, like, gosh forbid I win a race. Gosh forbid I ever win a race, and I'm asked to do an interview in about 45 seconds to list the things. It's, like, oh man, nobody wants to hear a list of names. Well, you're going to get it. You're going to get a list of names, or at least I'm going to promote the podcast, and then I'll give you the list of names on the podcast. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Ida Zetterstrom. Tremendous. A lot of great stories out there. Palm Beach International Raceway. Somebody buy it. Come on. Like, what is this? Like, people got private jets and stuff. This is tremendous real estate, guys. Like, this is in sunny South Florida. This is not in the middle of nowhere. Maybe we get the Bandemir family down here. Come to the beach, guys. Let's go, Bandemirs. Get rid of Colorado. Come out here to sunny South Florida, right? Wouldn't that be neat? Like, what kind of amazing thing can we hatch? RPM Act. If you believe in that. And, people are texting me. Things are already happening, and requests and whatnot. You need a law. You've got to enshrine certain things in legislation and make them permanent. That's how the government works. The biggest problem with all of this is that nobody really knows how the government works. Nobody understands how things happen. You know, you can have like orders, but they're temporary to the person that made the order. You got to make a law. The RPM Act can get shoved into this big thing that they're going to do right at the beginning. Like, why not? Everybody needs to get on their horse and ride and pressure. Now's the time. Now's the time to do that. My birthday is in 9 days. This guy, thanks for pointing it out. I did have a little pre-birthday dinner the other night that confused a whole bunch of people. Sorry about that. But it was good. Good. People are in shock. I'm in shock. Keith, hope to see you at Orlando Speed World. Good luck getting the Pontiac ready. Yeah. What are you going to do? Tomorrow, Colby Fuller. Check this out. Look at this guy. This tux. That's going to be pre-recorded, though. You're going to be wondering, like, where's Castello? He is working on Project Pontiac. Every second counts now. Every second counts. We are not ready yet. If the race was tomorrow, we couldn't make it. All right, guys. Appreciate you. You can always email me, Joe, at WFOradio.com. Get me on Twitter, Instagram, all the socials. See you soon. Thanks, Alan. Thanks, Ida.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.